So for those of you that do not know me, my name is Courtney Sharples. I'm the Platinum Leader of Team Twilight, and we are going over putting together a mock booking in VAX and going ahead and showing you how to put it together. So you can go ahead and post this on different social media platforms. So it depends what it is that you're looking to do. I'm just going to go ahead and have Canva set here up as well. I personally will use Canva for a lot of mine. There's a couple different ways that you can go about it. Everybody's different, so not everybody does their mock bookings the same way. So it's going to be based off the person, and it's up to you. Usually where I kind of myself personally focus a lot is usually that clients love is the usually Dominican Republic or um, Cancun or anywhere in Mexico is usually pretty popular as well. Sometimes when you post it, you might get a group towards the end if you don't know how to kind of request a quote for a group. Once we go through the mock booking, in case somebody is interested in doing like a group trip, let me know. I'd be happy to go ahead and show you how to go about doing that as well. So let's say maybe somebody's reaching out for, maybe you're doing like a last minute trip. Let's say it's like a mother's, let's put together like a Mother's Day weekend trip or something, or a week trip, so around Mother's Day or that, maybe try to get a last minute trip out. So anytime I'm doing a mock booking or anytime you're doing something for somebody else, I usually recommend usually at least a week. If they like the cost, what will happen is they'll typically just say, I do like this, maybe not quite for a week. I don't have a week-long vacation, or I don't have, maybe they just don't have the funds for an entire week. What I would recommend is at that point, if they like that exact amount, then you would just go ahead and just quote it for a few different days. So what we'll do is I usually do it for a week. You can always include the flight, or you can use it without. The only thing, one of the biggest things with a mock booking when you're doing it, whether it's with VAX or any other supplier, is you're always going to want to put in there that prices are subject to change until booked. Reason being, clients will get very upset if they think that that's the guaranteed price and all of a sudden they go to book and it's gone up $100. Sometimes in VAX, and just is just from a personal experience that I've experienced within the last 2 weeks alone, once in a while, either the resort might change or it could be a glitch. So let's say one night you look up a booking and you're doing it and it might be $1,400, right? You could log in the next day, and I've seen this happen. The booking was now $2,200. Something, either it could have been a glitch, or it could be the resort itself raised the prices because they're selling the rooms, or the flights. And then sometimes it'll go back down. So you always want to make sure they're aware. You can't guarantee that cost. So if they want that cost, they're going to want to book as soon as possible. And so as I said, clients love Cancun. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to kind of put something together with Cancun here. It's very popular. It's I would say one of the most affordable I find for those looking to take trips. They have some really good resorts and clients love it. And this is one of those. So even with it being so close, you want to let them know like they want to book. You can also add travel protection if they want it as well. I usually give that as an option. Sometimes I'll include it in mock bookings. Sometimes I won't. So it does depend, and you can always let them know if later on if they want to add that, how much it would cost. So when you look up the locations, it's going to bring you up to kind of looking like this. What I always recommend is if you're looking to plan an all-inclusive, you want to scroll down. The first thing I do when I get into looking in VAX is come to this screen here, and I'm going to click this all-inclusive. So it's going to narrow down some of the resorts. If you want to narrow it down by stars, you can do that. I personally try to do like a 4-star or a 5-star if I can. The more stars, obviously, the more expensive it's going to be. And then if you scroll up here, you'll change this here. So I always sort it by price, low to high. And it's going to pull up all of the resorts that they have here. Next, what I usually do is I'll click on each different resort. You might want to start with the lowest, so it depends what type of room they want available as well. But the first thing I do, I don't go check and see if the ocean views are available first. What I will personally do if whether I'm using it for a mock booking or an actual client, the first thing I always recommend doing is clicking these TripAdvisor reviews right here. Because if you're seeing bad comments or really bad reviews, you're not going to want to send a client there. This is also in real time as well. So I've seen it once, sometimes on a training, sometimes not. When I'm kind of going through these, somebody posts a comment, you're going to be notified right away. So you'll see comments that were made on the 14th. You'll see them from the 15th. You're going to see all of those right away. So you can kind of switch between Apple, or you can use FunJet, whichever it is that you like. So like this one here, it doesn't have the reviews. So I typically don't do those ones. I like to pull up the reviews that are in here, just because it makes it really easy to try and find something they like. And it depends. Keep in mind when you're doing this as well, who you're trying to tailor to. If you're looking for like the younger crowd, the size of the resort might not matter. But if you're booking for somebody who might be a little bit older, you're going to want something that's a little bit smaller because they might not be able to walk as far. So like if you pull this one up, for example, if you see this right here, and that's the very top comment, you share that, you share this, a client goes to look that up, the first thing they're going to see is that bad result, like that bad comment, and they're going to be like, no, like, why would I want to book with somebody that is giving me like this example here, the first option they give me, and it's nothing but a bad review. That's one I just clicked on. So I'll usually go through a couple. Sometimes FunJet doesn't always give these reviews. So if I want to compare prices, I'll pull it up in here first, and then I'll switch it over to FunJet. If that's really what I want to use to see if those costs are similar. So this one here, as you can see, 2 really bad reviews right away. Usually if it's got the golden apples, it's usually pretty good. Not all the time. So you always do want to double check the reviews here. So this one here, couple good ones, and then you have the bad ones. So you want to always read them if there is a bad, depending on what the comment is. So this one here, not a bad resort. It's a good option. But I usually like to look at a 2 or 3, so that's one I'll kind of keep in my mind. So I don't always go with that first option for that mock booking. Yes, you want to kind of have a good cost, but you also want to find something that's kind of over the top. Catalonia lately, if you're looking yourself, I've kind of seen hit or miss with reviews. So like that one, if you see something where it says they feel they've been ripped off, probably not wise. So that's always like the biggest thing, is always check it. Now, if something on here doesn't have a review and you're interested, then you can always check out, you can always like Google the resort as well to see if it's got reviews that you can see online. So like this one here looks pretty good. All positive reviews. That's when you would also just kind of go through some of the photos, see what some of the rooms look like, what it's like, just kind of see, depending on what the clients are looking for or what your group you're trying to target is, see what rooms they have available, especially with this being last minute. So it's a good one, but no ocean view. So it depends, what. So I like to personally have at least an ocean view and a regular room, because you never know if they reach out, they're going to want an ocean view. So now it's never a guarantee, because obviously if it's a last minute trip, they're going to take what they can. So like something like this, pretty decent, looks nice, but depends what year. Some people don't like the beach. So it's going to be taking a look at different options. So you can kind of see they have different suites, platinums. Sometimes you'll see a little bit too far. Sometimes you'll see with them as well. They'll have rooms that have swim outs, that they have like the pool connected to it. So there's a variety of different ones. Usually if they have, if they're that big, they also have trams as well. So you just kind of want to take a look here. Let's see. So as you can see, the closer it is, ocean view is not always available. So let's see here what Usually stuff in Punta Cana, or not Punta Cana, Puerto Vallarta, Puerto Morelos, Playa del Carmen, they're all very popular. Something you'll see as well as this here. Student groups or spring breakers. A lot of these hotels absolutely dislike spring breakers. Reason being, they probably go cause quite a bit of chaos. So you want to kind of take a look as well, because a lot of them will. So this is my example here. So all of these reviews here were posted within the last 2 days. And there's probably more reviews than this, but these are the most recent reviews, all posted within the last day or two. So that's how you know it's a really good review. They've got garden view, rooms, and an ocean view. So let's say we're going to do this ocean view. It's actually not too much more from what I've seen from others. And then if you're including flights, you want to see what options that they have available. Now, me personally, I typically, if I'm quoting, unless they want the cheapest flight and they don't care on the airline, I will typically not choose Frontier, and I usually don't choose Spirit. That's my preference. Obviously, like, you can use whatever you like, but I usually don't use those two airlines. So I'll usually kind of use, like I said, Delta or American Airlines. So you'll kind of see, whoa, sorry, my screen is glitching. That was really weird. So with this here, there's a difference here. So you're going to kind of look, Aeromexico usually is run by Delta. So that's something to take in common. If I'm looking at flights, I'll typically try to find something that doesn't fly out too early in the morning. Sure, why is this it's just bear with me. It's just a little laggy right now with these flights here. So if they want to spend the day at the resort, they're probably not going to want to get it there at 7:51. So you want to take that into account when you're choosing flights. Let me see here. And there's also something you'll want to take into account as well, is you're going to see these different costs here. So if they want nonstop, this is a really great option. So I'll put in there, usually it's nonstop flights. So when you're booking, if you choose this top option here, they're not going to be able to choose their seats. So if they want to choose their seats after, they're going to have to pay more of a fee. So usually, just to save them that money, I'm going to automatically choose this option. So that way, when they are looking to book, they're not going to have to pay extra in order to choose their seats. And then on the flight back, if it's going to be the same cost, I will try to get them, I'll have them leave at 8 the same time in the morning, just to save them from having to pay more. So if you're scrolling down and it's going to increase in cost, then sometimes it's just better to go with that top option. If you're already in checkout and they want you to be able to kind of keep the same cost, you can, like, if they want this quote, you don't want to change anything, there's a way that you can save this. So what you would do is just come over here and hit save. If you're using it as a mock booking, I always recommend saving it anyways, because it'll be very easy to be able to pull up if somebody's like reaches out and says, hey, I want to book this trip. And it will stay saved under your saved reservations for 2 weeks. So what I'll do is I'll save this under, if I look this up in Cancun, I'll be like Cancun, Mexico quote, or just something like that. So, you know, just something different. So, you know that it's saved there. Something else that is good to know here, let's say their budget was just, you know, 3,200, you're still within their budget. Or if their budget's a lot more, you can actually click on this booking administration. And this shows you exactly how much commission you're going to earn. And here's also going to be where you're going to be able to increase that commission. So let's say you gave them a total, and then it came time for them, and they're like, oh, I want to go ahead and book, and it goes down. You could choose to come in here if you wanted to and increase that commission up, so you're making a bit more money. Just bear with me, I'm just reading the chat here real quick. I always say when you are, that is a point, you always want to be careful as well when you're booking flights. With this here, let me just click flights to show you here. You always want to be careful. So before I even submit the information, I'm always double checking the spelling. I'm reading it back to them, which is why I typically go with this one, but you have to be careful. You want to double check. And this isn't just with VAX is just in general because it can be sometimes a bit difficult to update the information with the airline if you do make an error. So I will usually advise to make sure that double check, read it back to them to make sure. Because sometimes, like for example, if you're using something like Centrav or another site for flights, they will typically charge in order to update that name. If you're not charging, like if you're using another supplier and you're not charging a fee, then it can sometimes be easy for them to take over. But at that point, if the airline, like if the airline's trying to fix an error you made, they will typically take over those flights. So if something needs done, you can no longer do anything with those flights. So it's always best to make sure everything is correct from the get-go. So just double check everything. As she said, just kind of a heads up before we kind of go through here and I show you how to put this together. So let me go ahead and click those flights back because now that I clicked on this, it's not pulling up what we had here. Let's go ahead and let's just click this here. So there's a couple different ways that you can do this. So some will choose to use the email itinerary that's like here and just cut out a lot of information and post it with photos. I used to do it that way before I actually decided that to use Canva because Canva it can make it look a lot nicer. And sometimes they don't want to read all of this information. So if you clicked email or print itinerary, if you see here, it has all of this information. So they're not necessarily going to want to read all of this here. So I'll usually do a quote two different ways or to post mock booking. One, I'll put it in a video and put some of this information in here. And then the other way is just a little small flyer to say, hey, like, look at this, like this great option that we have going right now, like this, the cost. With VAX, if you're doing a mock booking, keep in mind as well that once in a while, now they don't have it on here as well. They must have taken it off within the past few days, but they had like a spring savings sale. So if you see savings where they're saving a bit more money on here, you want to pay attention because those could come off at any point. So if it was originally giving them a discount of, let's say, $75 or that, they could come in here tomorrow and it's going to go up $75 because that discount fell off. Plus, they're going to pay more because maybe the flights went up. The 9 times out of 10, if the cost increases the next time you go to book it, the flights probably changed. The more people that are booking and the flights are selling out, the price is going to go up. So let me move this bar here so I can go over to Canva here. So what I'll do here is I'll typically kind of look at some different flyers. Let me see here a good option. I have a lot of stuff I use in here. So let's see. Let's use this one here. So this is a nice, so you can choose different flyers. All you do, like, would just do is kind of type up and say, this is what I'm looking in. So let's say here, I always will put all-inclusive resort. If you want to put the name on there, you absolutely can. So I may or may not choose to put the resort name on here. And then you're going to put here the dates that they're going to be traveling. Let me see if this works here. If I can get into the box. Now, if anybody does want to use this information after as well, any of these that we use for mock bookings, let me know. I'm happy to go ahead and give you that information. So you can go ahead and use it for yourself as well. I'm always going to put how many people it's going to go for. And then as well, let me drag this over here. I'm going to see here. This one is in Riviera Maya. Sometimes it'll tell you the exact city here, but usually I'll put Riviera Maya if it wants to load. Come on, where'd it go? So I'll always double check the address. So it's so it says in Riviera Maya. So usually I'll copy the city here. So I don't always give the resort name prior, and that's just because sometimes they will go and look it up themselves. If I'm looking for them and they want to know, I will. You don't ever want to not tell them if they ask, because it can chase them away where they decide not to. Sorry, this bar just keeps getting in the way. Then you also will put on here the total. So let me see, it was 3,136.32. Now, typically, if you're booking something in Aruba, that's why you'll see that cost here. Aruba's really expensive. For an all-inclusive, it's going to be sometimes double the cost. So you have to keep that in mind if somebody asks you to go there. 3,136.32. And then what I'm putting on here is I'm going to put different things that that resort has. So you're going to kind of click on the hotel and you're going to see some of those features that that hotel has to offer. And so usually I'll click on dining here and I'll kind of count some of the bars or snack bars that they have here. So usually, because I'll put this down here. So it'll have here the information they have. So let's see, they have let's separate these here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's like they have about 10 restaurants here. So you're going to change this here. And they usually have about, no, like most of them have at least 2 or 3 bars, if not more. And then I'm going to go here and see amenities. So I don't put all of these amenities on here. It's hard to put them all in a little flyer like this. So I'm going to put, if it says how many pools they have, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Then I would put that on here. So let's see. So this here, they have 4 pools and a swim up bar. So I'm going to put that there's 4 on-site pools. And then this is, you're going to have ocean. I'm going to put here as an ocean view room. And then you're going to see kind of what information you feel is going to be beneficial to include on here. So the 24-hour front desk, always good to put on there. Anything with this little T that you see right here, that's going to be something that's going to cost extra. So you want to kind of, I usually will not put those. They have complimentary wireless internet, so we can leave that on here, the internet services. Something you need to know is like that they don't have elevators available. Let's see. They have water sports for an additional fee. So it depends what they are looking to do. And they've got a gym. So it all does depend. So you want to kind of pick and choose what you put on here. You can also see hotel details, whatever it is that you think is going to be beneficial. And sometimes you don't need all of this information as well. So sometimes you might want one less here. And then what's included, you're going to put here flights, transfers. You're going to put the resort, the food, the drinks, the taxes, gratuities. This one I didn't do travel insurance on, so you don't put the travel insurance unless it's on. And then the biggest thing that you're going to put on here, this right here, and I always star it. The prices are subject to change until booked. This is important to go ahead and put on here because, like I said, if you don't have this on here, clients will get very angry if they go ahead and go to book and that cost has changed from when you posted it, especially if it's something that you may have posted 4 or 5 days ago. And all of a sudden, now somebody saw it, they're interested. That price may have changed a little bit. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go up, but it could possibly go down. It can honestly go either way when it comes to booking with an all-inclusive. And then what I usually do here is I will change the photos that are on the flyer. Sometimes I'll choose the same flyer. Sometimes I'll choose different ones for mock bookings. So what I do is, those of you that have the browsers or aren't sure what this is, there's this little split screen here. So what I'll do is I'll kind of use the split screen and I'll pull up VAX next to it. Sometimes it will let you drag photos. Sometimes it won't. So usually what I will do first is I'm always getting a picture of what the resort looks like. And then what I'll do is I'll drag that photo over to here. And let me take that off for a second. And then I'll scroll up. And that's always what I use for like the top photos. So I'm always putting a picture of the resort so they can see what it looks like. So it depends on the size they're looking. Make that bigger. And then I like to put at least like I said, 3 to 4 photos on here. You want them to have an idea of what that resort looks like. So then when I'm looking through, I'm going to put, usually I'll put one of the bedroom, depending on what room it is that I'm quoting, as well as some of the activities. As well as I usually try to get at least one restaurant so they can see what the restaurants look like. So it depends what it is that they're looking for. You can always put the pool. Sometimes I'll put pool photos in here. I'm just gonna drag these over here and I'll put them in their spot in a minute. They've got tennis courts. They've got rooms for the teens, the lobby. If anybody likes a spa, they've got the spa. So it depends what it is that you're looking to post. So I might put something like just some different photos on here and then one of the restaurants. So I'm just dragging photos over for a minute. And then I like to put them in here. So let's move these out of the way. So let's delete this one here. And we'll drag this one down here. And you just kind of fit them in to make sure it kind of looks nice, as long as they have an idea. And yes, at the moment it is also covering up the total, but usually what you can do with Canva is if you right click, you can actually, if you click layer, you can send it backward and it brings this right back out front. And it gives them kind of an idea of what it looks like. And I try to keep all of the photos, at least on the bottom, the same size. And the bigger ones, usually what the resort looks like, because if it's a bigger resort, it can sometimes take up a lot of space. And then just kind of shrink it in. And this way they've got a lot of information, but it's not, they're not reading like it would a whole entire quote. And then you would just send that one backward as well. If anybody wants this for themselves, just let me know. I'm happy to go ahead and download it so you can use it yourself as well. Yes. So there is part of Canva that is free. And then there's a version that can be paid for as well. With Canva, let me see if I can kind of show you an example. So Canva, anything that's free, you'll see like this. Anything that's got a cost, it's going to have this little crown on it. With the little crown, if you pay for Canva Pro, you can use any of them. If it's got a crown on it and you have it on your flyer, then there's like an additional cost. But if you're realizing, like, if you're using it and you're starting to, like, maybe you only want to pay for one photo to like that, I personally get my use out of Canva. Because I one time went to create a flyer and it cost me, it would have cost $30 to download that flyer when Canva Pro was only, I think it was like $15 a month. So if you're using Canva a lot for mock bookings, if you're posting every other day, that's the recommended, highly beneficial. You can, I personally don't do the with and without flights on the same flyer. You can certainly do them that way. I personally don't. I usually will put that the flights are included, and that's why I put prices are subject to change. Most of the time they're looking to add those flights, but I will let them know that they can always change it as well. Yes, you can. You can use it as a business expense. Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and I do typically post this in the chat. So anybody that wants it, I'm going to go ahead and post it. I always post it as a JPEG in the chat. And then I'm going to kind of show you like a little video I typically kind of put together. I purposely did not put my contact information on here so that you can either upload it to Canva yourself or whatever you're using, and you can put your phone number, your email, and your website on here for clients to be able to reach out to you. So that way you don't have my information that you're trying to cover up. So let me go ahead and I'll upload this here for you to be able to use. Where's the chat here? You might see a blob on my screen for a second. Just bear with me just so I was trying to post that in the chat for you. And then what else I'll also do is I'll sometimes try to create a video. And what I like to use for mine is something like this. And there's different videos, like if you search videos in here, you can kind of download different ones. So I'll put this one be like, get your all-inclusive getaway to, and I'm gonna put like Mexico, if I can spell. 3,000. So usually I'll put this one per person. So where this one here is 1568. 1568.16. So this way they know how much it is per person. And then I always emphasize here, food and drink included. Because that's what clients look for in all-inclusive. Some clients don't always know what all-inclusive truly means. So this we obviously know is, but be careful when you're reaching out with clients as well, because sometimes to them an all-inclusive is just, I need flight, hotel, rental car. Like they don't get that, like what we mean by all-inclusive is food, drink, taxes, which like everything included, because none of that is truly in the United States. Then I'll usually have like a little section saying, hey, what's included? And I'll put flights included, the transfers are included. You always want to make sure that they have that transportation to and from the resort. And then I'll put here, if I'm doing a video, I'll sometimes put the name of the resort. So I'm going to put here, Ocean. Let me see if this will allow me to copy it, because I'll probably misspell it. Or I think this is a 7-day stay or 8-day stay. What I recommend if you don't want to use your own personal phone number is you can actually create a free Google phone number as well. So it will still reach out to your phone, but it's not them calling you directly or messaging you directly. So Google Voice, they can text in there and it's not reaching to you directly. And then this is where you would want to put like a picture of the resort. So since we have some up here, I would take one from here, upload. So this one I might put a picture of the pool. So let me delete this one here, and I'm just going to click and put this photo here. I'm just trying to check the chat. Yes, I'm going to download this for you as well. Absolutely. And then what's included. So this is where you're going to want to make sure you're putting everything that's included as well. Oh, you're welcome. So usually I'll put here, they're going to dine at 10 of the best restaurants. Some of them have 2 different resorts, so make sure that you're including that as well. So typically you can come here and click. They have these privileged amenities, so you can always click this down. And it's going to tell you everything that is included. They also have the all-inclusive ones here, so always check and see what they have going on. So if you're trying to get this towards mostly adults, you may not want to put in here about the kids. So it depends where it is that you're trying to market for. They have an adult section as well. So kind of take a look here and see what they have. You want to make sure you have everything. So like this here, everybody loves entertainment. So these are things that you're going to want to kind of take into account with putting on to this video here. I don't always put the amount of bars, so I'll put unlimited beverages depending on the locations. Many of the rooms will also put in there, they'll get like daily like water and beer and soda usually put in their rooms. This one I didn't see themed cuisine. So if they have a theme, some locations have themed cuisines, which I'll leave that on there. There's entertainment. And then activities, this is where I'm going to change up because obviously they don't have all of these. So we're going to go look at some of the activities and put some of those activities in here so they can see what they have to do. I always like to kind of check these as well, just to make sure. So if we go click on activities, biggest thing I always put here, wow, usually non-motorized are usually included. So they have direct access to the beach, and then I'm going to put here a spa. Let's see. Put here, let's see. Or if I'm not sure on activities, I might put this here and change it to inclusions. And I'll put, I cannot spell today, complimentary wireless internet. Let's see here, somebody put. Yeah, no problem. I personally use like a Google Voice for mine. I don't have my phone number down for everybody because I don't want my phone, like kind of like you don't want my phone blowing up at all times. So it does depend on you and what your preference is. They have um a jacuzzi, nightly entertainment, because then I can put this all in one spot. Concierge desk, 24-hour front desk. Gym. I try not to put anything for that costs an additional fee unless you're going to put in here like there's an additional fee for such and such so that they're not expecting that to be included. And then here I may put for an additional cost. You can put in motorized, I think I said motorized water sport or just water sports in general. So it's water sports and non-motorized. They could put water sports. There's a spa and a tennis court. So it depends what it is that they're interested in, but you can put that on here as well. Just so that they have an idea of what's included. So it can vary based off the different resorts, different things here. So it's an ocean view room, all taxes and gratuities. They have that daily maid service, like I said, daily refreshed mini bar, 24-hour room, different things that are included. And then you're going to put here the total again, which was, let me see here, 1,568. And then usually I leave it blank here. This is where you're going to put all of your contact information. You can put your logo, your email, your website, if you don't, whatever is the best way for them to contact you. If you have a QR code, you can also put a QR code in here and take them directly to your website. And then you can also use this. So for those of you that weren't aware, you can't actually download this as a video. As you can see, it's kind of like a video. So when you click share, which you want to make sure when you click download, that it's an MP4 video. And you want to include all 8 pages or however many pages you make it, or it's not going to have everything you did. And it will download that as an MP4 that you can put it on YouTube. You can post it on Facebook. You can use it on LinkedIn. You could use it on TikTok. You could use it on Instagram, wherever it is that you focus on. This is going to take just a minute to go ahead and download here. So let me go ahead and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to go ahead and answer them now. I'm going to go ahead and